Hello everyone, on today's IRS tax update, we have the newest information just released from the IRS on the remaining backlog of unprocessed tax returns and amended returns, so we'll check in on that. Meanwhile, with the new tax season just about 10 weeks away, the IRS is taking new steps to cut down on those delays, so we'll recap what exactly those are. Then we'll also take a look at some of those IRS notices viewers have been reported receiving in the last week who are being impacted by refund delays. Recapping the latest update just released from the IRS, which saw a reduction in the backlog of unprocessed tax returns to now 936,000. Among that number includes 700,000 e-file returns, which has dropped since our last update, but we did see a huge increase of unprocessed paper returns, now up to 236,000, which was a jump of over 100,000 returns since our last update, and all but confirms this backlog will carry over into next tax season. For those waiting on amended returns, good number, as the backlog dropped to 796,000, but those two will also carry over into next tax season, and we did see increases in the amount of unprocessed employer and amended employer returns. For those still waiting on their refunds who claim the Earned Income Tax Credit or Child Tax Credit, it's all but certain your return is under audit, and you have or likely will receive the CP75 notice as seen here from the IRS requesting further documentation so that tax processing can continue. There's also a chance the IRS may have sent it to you and you never received it, which is a common scenario in previous years. Make sure to check your tax transcripts and locate any 971 codes and the specific dates for those codes, at which point you want to confirm you received any letters from the IRS around those dates. If you did not, that means those notices could have been lost in the mail, and you will need to reach out to the IRS to request a duplicate be sent to you so that you can complete the documentation request and so that, in fact, the audit can continue. We've still been receiving questions from those of you still waiting on your amended returns to be processed, and average processing times for those is still holding at 6 to 7 months. However, we're seeing instances where that can be longer for some viewers who have waited up to 14 months for theirs to be processed, especially if the IRS during processing has to ask the taxpayer to submit any additional paperwork. Unfortunately, there is nothing that really can be done to fast track the processing of an amended return, as they usually seem to take the longest to process. It is advised for you to check your tax transcripts on a weekly basis for any potential updates, as Where's My Amended Return Status Update feature on the IRS website does not always display the most up-to-date information. Now, one common tax processing delay issue is when the IRS must request additional paperwork from a taxpayer to continue processing, which potentially can result in months of additional delays, as often the taxpayer must mail back those requested items to the IRS. Now, the IRS is continuing to move forward to allow more items to be sent to them electronically rather than by mail, which can cut down delays significantly for those of some of you, at least by several months. The IRS is estimating 94% of taxpayers will no longer have to mail in their documents to the IRS and can upload those documents online. Also, the digital processing of paper tax returns is going to be extremely important next year, as currently an IRS employee must manually enter the return into the IRS system, which can take a significant amount of time and cause months worth of delays. In addition, the IRS will be launching a new callback feature next tax season, and that's for those who call into the IRS and get an expected wait time for assistance that is over 15 minutes. Now, the IRS's main plan is to keep wait times below 15 minutes, and that would be a huge improvement from last year when the IRS only answered 10 to 15% of all phone calls they received. Several viewers who have received the 60-day notice like seen here continue to ask if there's anything they can do after receiving this notice, and oftentimes the answer is no. The IRS simply needs additional time to review your return and process it. Now, we've reported previously the main common reason for this notice is the IRS still needs to process the wage information they receive from your employer to match it versus your tax return for accuracy. Just to make sure, go and check your wage and income transcript by logging into your IRS account. Now, if you do not see anything there or there's a discrepancy from what you reported to the IRS, make sure to check your earnings record by logging into your Social Security account. Now, if you're seeing missing wages at that point, it's advised for you to contact the IRS and inform them of the situation. But if you're seeing the correct earnings on your wages and income transcript and receive that notice, there's unfortunately nothing more you can do at this point to except to wait. So again, we're roughly 10 weeks away from the start of the next tax filing season, and while the IRS is making moves to decrease processing times, we're still expecting delays to impact next tax season as well. The tax return backlog currently is still about double what it should be, and obviously that's going to play into an impact of next year. The IRS is also testing out their new free e-file system, as well as the new IRS tax rule, which states any income over $600 from online sales and transactions must be reported, which is probably going to be the biggest trouble point we see next tax season. But once again, we'll cover all delays and news for next tax season which will mark our third year of covering tax-related news. Let us know in the comment section below about your tax issues or any concerns you have going into next tax season. In the meantime, we'll keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.